It's an exciting day here at Monmouth University as we look forward to the next chapter, not only athletically here at the university, but academically as Monmouth prepares to join the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. I'm happy to be joined by the president of Monmouth University, Paul G. Gaffney. President Gaffney, kind of dive right into it. What were some of the deciding factors, some of the things that Monmouth looked at, and as far as moving into the MAAC, not only from an athletic standpoint, but academically as well?
Yeah. Well, let me say first, Eddie, that the university is, and I personally am very flattered by this invitation. And let me elaborate on that a little bit, because over the years, our policy has been at the university, with the board and with me and with our athletics director, is not to go out and search the world for a conference. What we decided to do was to invest appropriately at a high level in our conference, to improve gradually our facilities, keeping debt in mind, and also to perform well, to perform in the top quarter of our conference. And hopefully by demonstrating those good features and living by those good principles, somebody would, at the appropriate time, come to our campus and say, are you interested in joining? And that, in fact, happened this year. Of course, there's so much motion every day. You'll have to read the newspaper tomorrow to see a news story. But there's so much motion with athletic conferences. We were approached by the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and had visits. We shared our books, and we've done that with others as well. And we were fortunate today to receive an invitation, and I accepted the invitation today.
We've seen the landscape of college athletics change, and it affects obviously the universities as a whole. But what were some of the driving factors, some of the deciding things that when Monmouth looked at the other leagues, and you mentioned the MAAC obviously, that was kind of zeroing in on this conference?
Yeah. Well, we like the MAAC. Of course, they have a strong focus in basketball, and we like the RPI and their sort of their national standing and how they are perceived by recruits and by fans, and we thought that was great for us, because we're interested in attracting students here as students, and we're interested in attracting good athletes, and I think that helps because people look at those ratings. We think that the fan base will increase. The two in-state rivalries, which will be renewed now every year in many sports, but twice a year in basketball, with our in-state rivals and good friends, St. Peter's and Ryder, will be terrific. These are strong academic schools, and I believe that all of the schools in the MAAC, and I've talked to several of the presidents in recently, and I think they have athletics and academics in balance, which is very important to me. I don't think every conference in America does, but I think this conference does, and we're very, very happy about that. The marketing skill of the MAAC is something that was interesting to us as well. The fact that they have a great relationship with ESPN, we have these nice metro areas that are important to us here, and they have a unique relationship with Disney, which is terrific for a winter campus. So you think that every once in a while, some sport may be able to compete at a Disney complex. That will be great for us, I think.
You mentioned earlier Monmouth's success in the Northeast Conference was one of the reasons that other leagues would be attracted to a school like Monmouth. What, if any, changes do you foresee here at the university, either athletically or academically, knowing that the school was successful in one league, now to again be successful in a new conference?
Well, I think when you think about investment in athletics, this is not going to be something that's going to bring us to our knees. I think that the schools in the MAAC invest about like we do. We perhaps will put a little bit more emphasis on basketball going forward. Of course, we've already done that. We have this. We're sitting in this fabulous arena here with 4,000 seats. It's one of the most beautiful arenas in the Northeast, and we look forward to having the MAAC teams play here. I don't see any great differences. We will continue to make sure that our students graduate, that we're compliant with the NCAA rules with good sportsmanship, that we'll field competitive teams, and while basketball is an emphasis sport, a major sport in the MAC, we also pride ourselves as being comprehensive. So we will continue to invest in and pay close attention to all of our sports. Every one of the 21 sports that we have, plus sailing, of course, which is not an NCAA sport.
Right. You know, moving forward into the MAC, and it's appropriate. Where leaders look forward is now we kind of look to this new day and the new conference. But I feel, and I know you do as well, it's important to look back on a very successful tenure as a Northeast Conference school, one of the founding members of the league, of the NEC, and obviously great memories looking backwards, not only with championships but with relationships with the other schools and with the other presidents.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. I was the president of the conference for a while and vice president, and I think we worked very hard here at Monmouth University to advance that conference. And I think we played a great role, for example, in getting the automatic qualification bid for football. These are all important. And we have great relationships with all of these schools, and I think we'll find ways to play each other in the future, maybe in an organized fashion in sports like field hockey and bowling and football, but even in an unorganized way, because we're all in the region. We had, I think, a very good relationship. Over 20 years, if you look at the statistics, on average, we finished second in over 20 years. Nobody else is close to that. So we had very good. Now, some years we won, and some years we were fourth in the conference overall in the Commissioner's Cup. But I think we had this sort of sustaining drive that was good, and we enjoyed our competition so very much with these people. They've become very good friends, and I intend for that to continue.
You kind of touched upon what I'd like to quickly bring up next, and that's the idea that there are certain sports that obviously Monmouth sponsors that the MAC does not, and you mentioned them, football and field hockey and bowling, and on the women's bowling side. And what are the plans with those three programs moving forward into the new conference?
Well, definitely we will continue to compete in those three areas. We have a great relationship with NEC peers now, and I hope that we could continue there. But let me, and we'll talk to them about that over the next several months. But let me just broaden that just a little bit. There are sports that this conference sponsors, or sports that conference sponsors, and there are sports that both conferences sponsor. There are ways going forward, especially after everything settles down with all the conference realignment that's going on in America, that whole new arrangements might be made for sports. And in this part of the Northeast where there are so many conferences, I'm sure that people will stand up and be adults about this, that we need to get the best competition we can for our student athletes and for our fans and for our alumni, and to get the best bang for our buck, because none of us have a lot. And I can see creative commissioners. We have a great commissioner, and I predict someday will be the commissioner of the Big Ten or the SEC, and in the Northeast Conference, Noreen Morris, and Rich Enser, the commissioner in the MAC, is a very creative guy that really knows where that conference is going. I think people like that can work together over the next 6 months to 2 years to forge all kinds of alliances that we've never thought of before. We have a great opportunity to do that now, and we intend to be part of that discussion, because it really doesn't make any difference about all these alignments. What really makes a difference is that we treat these student athletes correctly and that we give the fans what they came to see.
All right, President Gaffney, one final question, and it kind of steps out of conference realignment a little bit and kind of more into a Monmouth lane. In your time here, this being your final year as the president, we are sitting in a brand new arena that was built during your time here, obviously, in the Multipurpose Activity Center, a new conference to be joined now. The school slogan is where leaders look forward, and obviously, both athletically and academically, in your time, and please expound on it, the university has done nothing except move forward.
Well, it's very kind of you. I have 6 months to go, so I'm worried about taking any bows. I think the university has moved forward. We have terrific people here, fantastic, tireless vice presidents, very creative, great faculty and staff who have worked forward, and of course wonderful students. And I think the academics are the criteria for admissions keeps growing. Our graduation rates improving all the time. Our athletic graduation rate's phenomenal. We have these institutes that do research and outreach beyond our gate. We've improved the facilities all over campus. But you mentioned this arena and athletic facilities, and I think this revolutionized us a bit. This arena, conceived by my predecessor, I was able to pull the trigger on it. But one of the great things about this $50 million arena is we have no debt. We timed it right so that we could raise money and save money to build this with no debt. That is a big deal in America today. As a matter of fact, it's one of the lead stories in the New York Times today about debt in universities, and we keep ours very low here as a principle. And then we have generous donors that bought lights. It sounds simple. Lights for soccer. Revolutionized soccer at Monmouth University. We have one of the most beautiful places to play soccer in the country. And now, over the past few years, we were able to get plastic grass for field hockey and plastic grass for football and lacrosse and a great running track. But we have substandard facilities for fans and for people like you who sit up in the press box, the voice of Monmouth football. And so we are investing, about to invest in so far money that we've raised privately to build a stadium complex. No additional seats, but indoor bathrooms, offices for coaches, and places for announcers and visiting team coaches and people that run the scoreboard and videographers. It's going to be a nice facility. So that's our next thing. We're trying to move along and make incremental movements each year without causing any problems with debt, because the debt goes back to the student.
Well, those same students that you mentioned will now be able to watch the Monmouth athletic teams compete in a new league, and we kind of started this by saying it is an exciting day, and just again, not only thank you for joining us, but your final thoughts again, as Monmouth now makes this move into this kind of brave new world of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Well, I'll start off at where I started. I'll say what I said at the beginning. I'm very flattered that the presidents of the MAAC considered us in the first place, that they even came and looked around and checked us out, and that they today voted to invite us in. And I instantly responded affirmatively. And my pledge to all of them, if they happen to be watching this, is I hope to be on every one of their campuses in the next couple of months to meet them in person and see them in their native habitat.
Well, President Gaffney, we appreciate a few minutes on this. We said an exciting day, and it really is. Thanks for joining us, and obviously thank you for all the hard work you put in, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Eddie.
That's Monmouth University President Paul G. Gaffney on this day when Monmouth University joins the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.